Alright, this is my math video for Unit 6, Block 1. I'm going to write my name. So you know that that's my handwriting. I'll write some numbers. I wrote it all out first because last time it took me a really long time to try and figure it out while I was doing it and I got sidetracked. So I wrote it all out first, but this is my handwriting, all of my work. I did the work and I'm going to explain it now. So the first equation that we have here is this equation. So what we're going to do first is we're going to factor it. So we have to factor each single expression on each side. So if we have this one first, and then we also have the denominator one, which is right here. You see these match up, and then we also have this one, which is also this one. I used the yellow to see which ones would cross cancel, but so you can see that each one matches up. So first we factor this one, we got x plus 1, x minus 5. Then we factor this one, we get x plus 3, x plus 3. Factor this one, there's a common factor of 2x, so you get 2x, x plus 3. That's supposed to say common factor. And then we have this one, and you get x plus 1 and x plus 2. And then from there, what you have to do is you have to cross cancel. So we cross canceled, and we can see that x plus 1 and x plus 1 cross cancel here. And we can also see that x plus 3 and x plus 3 cross cancel. And I wrote those over there so you know which ones I cross canceled. But these ones, they cross cancel, so we can get rid of them. And then now that we have what's left over, we multiply across. This is what we have left. We have x minus 5 over x plus 3 times 2x over x plus 2. We multiply those. And when you multiply those out, you get 2x times x minus 5 over x plus 3 times x plus 2. If you want to multiply them out, you would get 2x squared minus 10x over x squared plus 5x plus 6. But this would be the final answer. Not this. This is just, this is extra. This is the final answer, what I boxed. And then we know that x cannot equal negative 3 and negative 1 because if we were to plug in negative 3 back to our equation up here and negative 1 back to our equation up here, we would find that the denominator would equal 0, which is not possible. See, if we plugged in negative 3 right here, then we would get 0, which cannot be in the denominator, and if we plugged in negative 1, we would get 0, which cannot be the denominator. So x cannot equal negative 3 and negative 1. Okay. The next problem we have is this one right here. So the thing we want to do first is find the common denominator. That's what this stands for, common denominator. Not the least common denominator, just the common denominator. And that's what's in down below, what's the common denominator between all of those denominators. So the common denominator is x plus 3, x minus 4. It's the most simplified denominator. And now that we have the common denominator, we have to multiply everything by the common denominator. So we have to multiply this right here by the common denominator. That's what we're doing right here. And then we have to multiply. So when we do that, we get negative 4x plus 16. And then we have to multiply this by the common denominator. We do that right here. And when we do that, we get x squared minus 5x plus 4. And then we have to multiply this right here by the common denominator. That's what we do right here. And when we do that, we get x squared plus 3x. Now that we've multiplied everything by the common denominator, we set it back up just like the original equation, and we have to simplify. So the first thing that we have to do is what I do is I find like the like terms by drawing different shapes around them. So x squared and x squared, negative 5x and 3x, and then plus 4. And when we combined all of those like terms, we get negative 4x plus 16 equals 2x squared minus 2x plus 4. And then from there, we would add 4x to both sides and negative 16 to both sides. And when we do that, we get 0 equals 2x squared plus 2x minus 12. And now this isn't the final product. We have to factor. And so first we can take out the common factor. There's a common factor of 2. We can take that out, and then we would factor it with the triangle right here. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. So we get 2 times x minus 2, x plus 3 equals 0. So this is our answer right here. X equals 2, x equals negative 3. But now we have to check for extraneous solutions. So first we'll try 2. 2 works because you don't get 0, you get negative 10 as a denominator if you were to plug it in, and that is okay because it's not 0. The only thing we can't get is 0. But if we plug in negative 3, we get 0. See, if we had plugged in negative 3 up here, there would be 0 in the denominator, which is not possible. So the only solution is x equals 2. Okay, next problem. So our last problem is the graphing problem. We have f of x equals x minus 2 over x squared plus x minus 6. So the first thing we want to do is find the vertical asymptote, and the way to do that is to set this equal to 0, factor the bottom. When you factor the bottom right here, you get x minus 2, x plus 3, and then on top you still have x minus 2, and those cross cancel, so you're left with x equals negative 3 as the vertical asymptote. And now we gotta find the horizontal asymptote. And then to find the horizontal asymptote, there's this rule where if the exponent on top is less than the exponent on the bottom, so if 1 is less than 2, because see there's 2 and that's 1, then the horizontal asymptote is y equals 0. And then over here, step 3 would be to find the y-intercept, which is also known as x equals 0. So we would plug in 0 over here, and we get y equals 1/3. And then now we gotta find the domain and the range. So to find the domain, you set the denominator equal to 0 or factor it. And when you do that, you get 2 and negative 3, which means the domain is all real numbers except for 2 and negative 3. And then the range is all real numbers except for 0 and 1/5, because the horizontal asymptote is 0, and if you plug it in, and then if you plug in 1 to the equation, so we know that if you take the exponents, you know that you get 0, and then if you plug in 1, you know that you get 1/5, so that's why x cannot equal 1/5 if you take away x squared and plug it in. And now we're gonna plug in some expressions here, some numbers to the equation so that we can find some variables to use when graphing. So I chose these numbers, and when I plug them in, I got these numbers, as you can see here. And when we do that, and then we graph, this is what our graph will look like. So we have the y-intercept at 1/3. We have the vertical asymptote at x equals -3, and we have the horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. And then we have the points that I had plugged in. They're up there. The points that I had plugged in here, 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 here. And this is what our graph looks like. Now, I can really draw it very well, but normally these lines will never touch. These two lines will never touch. And these lines will never touch as it goes on, because that's what the asymptote is. Okay, that's it. Hopefully I did that right.